The 2025 Western action drama Rust will forever carry the heavy shadow of real-life tragedy. Before it even premiered, it was infamous, its name inseparable from the heartbreaking on-set incident that claimed the life of cinematographer Halyna Hutchins. That moment rewrote the movie's history before the audience ever had a chance to engage with the story. But today, we're setting aside the headlines to examine Rust as a film. What is this movie really about? What happens in its dramatic final act? And what does the ending truly mean for the characters and the audience? This is Rust. Ending explained. Set in 1882 Wyoming Territory, Rust tells the story of a young boy named Lucas Hollister. Orphaned after the death of his mother from diphtheria and his father's tragic suicide, Lucas is left to care for his younger brother Jacob and run their modest farm alone. Lucas is toughened by hardship, but still just a boy. He shoulders immense responsibility, juggling daily chores with the emotional weight of protecting his sibling in the untamed frontier. But Lucas' world begins to unravel after a run-in with Charles Gantry, an arrogant, wealthier farm owner whose son bullies Jacob in the nearby town of Hayesville. When Lucas defends Jacob and injures Gantry's son, Charles retaliates. He demands that Lucas work on his farm as compensation. Reluctantly, Lucas agrees. But what begins as a tense arrangement quickly spirals into catastrophe. The next morning, Lucas spots a wolf near his property. Grabbing a rifle, he rushes out in a panic. It's clear he's not comfortable using a gun, and this moment marks his first attempt to kill an animal to protect the farm. But instead of hitting the wolf, Lucas accidentally shoots Charles Gantry, who happens to be riding nearby on horseback. Although the court declares the shooting as premeditated murder, citing Lucas' previous conflict with Gantry, there's an eerie uncertainty in the scene. Did Lucas miss the wolf? Or did he take a split-second opportunity to eliminate the man who exploited him and disrespected his family? Throughout the film, Lucas is portrayed as gentle and emotionally conflicted. He mourns his parents. He refuses to embrace violence. Yet there's an undercurrent of rage, of generational trauma. This theme becomes even more pronounced when we meet his grandfather, Harland Rust. Harland is a grizzled outlaw, infamous and ruthless. When Lucas is sentenced to death, it's Harland who storms the prison, killing lawmen and rescuing his grandson in a blaze of gunfire. From this moment on, Rust transforms into a chase film. Harland, Lucas, and Jacob go on the run, headed toward Mexico, with bounty hunters and lawmen close behind. Among them is Sheriff Woodhelm, an aging, moral man who has tangled with Harland before. And the most dangerous pursuer? A religious fanatic turned bounty hunter named Preacher Lang. Lang is cruel, calculating, and relentless. He believes he's delivering divine justice and is obsessed with capturing Lucas and Harland. He becomes a symbolic force, representing not just the law, but a twisted version of righteousness. The trio's journey climaxes in a violent three-way showdown in Mesquero, a small New Mexican town. Harland, already wounded from earlier battles, faces off against Lang while trying to keep Lucas alive. At the height of the chaos, Lang captures Lucas, threatening to kill him. But Harland, summoning his last reserves of strength, takes down the bounty hunter with a single gunshot, saving his grandson once again. But this isn't a happy ending. Harland knows he can't keep running, and so he makes a final deal with Sheriff Helm, his surrender, in exchange for Lucas' safety. This is where Rust reveals its emotional core. Despite all his crimes, Harland's last act is one of sacrifice. He doesn't seek redemption for himself, but for his bloodline. For Lucas. With Harland captured, Lucas is secretly taken across the border to his Aunt Evelyn Bassett, who had tried to save him through legal means earlier in the story. She couldn't win in court, but she could count on Harland to fight with bullets. In the end, Lucas is reunited with Jacob, and they begin a new life in Mexico, outside the reach of American justice and far from the cruelty of the land that orphaned them. So, why does Sheriff Helm let Lucas go? Simply put, Rust is about morality in a world without mercy. Helm knows Lucas was a child pushed into impossible circumstances. Even if the shooting of Gantry was intentional, was it truly murder, or the cry of a boy whose back was against the wall. Helm sees the humanity in Lucas. And in Harland, too. And perhaps more importantly, Helm realizes that justice doesn't always wear a badge. By letting Lucas go, Helm doesn't just honor a deal. He upholds a higher sense of justice, one rooted in compassion, context, and consequence. Lucas survives not because he's innocent, but because someone finally chose mercy over vengeance. In the final scene, Lucas stares into the horizon, his brother beside him, and the desert stretching endlessly ahead. It's not a perfect ending. It's not even a clear one, but it's a future. And for Lucas Hollister, that's more than he ever dared to hope for. Rust is not a masterpiece. It stumbles with uneven pacing, thin characters, and controversy that overshadows its narrative. But at its heart, it's a story of family, legacy, and survival, of how the past never truly leaves us, and how even in the lawless West a boy might still find his way home.